Hello, my name's John Tranter, and I'm going to show you what Transum membership entails. So, if you become a subscriber, you can then sign in just like this using your username and password. And you will get to the members only area. So this is where your details are recorded, some quick links to the popular parts of the site, my latest tweets, so you can see what's new and what's going on. Links that you've added yourself will appear at the top of the middle column for handy access, and then some members only resources, which includes things such as lesson finishers. We have starters on the site, but there's lots of ideas here for finishing off your lesson. Little things like timetables, tips. This is students are expected to have instant recall of all of the table facts, of course. So here we have images of ways to remember various times tables facts. I'm just clicking on at random at the moment, but it gives you an idea. You've got access to all of those. And there are a growing number of worksheets or printables so that you can use these if your students don't have access to technology. And these are only accessible by Transum members. You'll notice that the pages are ad-free. There are no adverts on the pages, as you would do if you were just using the free version of the site. You get a little message at the top to say that you're signed in. And the other thing that you have access to is a place where you can type in the IP address of your school. And if you don't know what that is, if you're using this within your school, your IP address will appear here. And if you record that, it means that everybody in your school accessing Transum is also ad-free. They don't see adverts. But I guess the main reason that you would buy a subscription is for the answers. So, of course, the starters, which are very popular. You've probably seen these, but if you scroll down the page, you get the answers appearing, and of course, no adverts. The puzzles. The latest one is always at the top, by the way. Here's the latest puzzle at the time of recording this. It's called Awesome. And down here you get what the solution is and a little description of the method that may be used to find the solution. But I guess the most extensive set of answers is in the exam style questions. So there are a growing number of these. I had a couple every week, and you can see the question, but you can also pull down on this grey area to see a worked solution. So some of them are longer than others, obviously. You can sort these by the exam that they are similar to. And as I say, all of them, then pull down the grey area when you're logged in and you will get a worked solution. And some of them will also have not only the solutions but also screenshots of a GDC, a graphic calculator, so that there is plenty of information that you can use in the classroom. You can show the question and then slowly you can pull down the grey panel to reveal more and more of the answer as the students work through this in class. You know, if they get stuck, you could perhaps reveal the first part of a solution, and then they could go on to do the rest. So lots and lots of answers and information for teachers comes with membership. So this is a place where you can store details of the classes that you teach, or if you're a private tutor, you could actually set these up as the students that you teach and use this in a similar way. So let's begin with the lesson plan section. So I'll click on the lesson plan button. There are some instructions here, but let's go straight into adding a new lesson plan. For the date, let's choose that from the calendar. It's going to be, today's the 18th, let's say next Tuesday. Time of 9:15. I'm going to give this particular lesson a title, and this title you'll see later can be the titles of various lessons can be grouped together by their titles so that you have sort of a unit of work building up as you're creating the lessons. You could then type an objective for the lesson if you wish. I'm not going to, but you then can choose one of the lesson starters. Factuples as the starter because that links in with my theme. There are also the advanced starters over here and riddles which can actually be used as starters. So if you actually get through 366 different starters with your class, you can then start on the advanced starters. And then we start to type in the details of the lesson, which is very simply done. I'm just doing something quite daft now. Now the trick is if you can have the various activities of the lesson as bullet points, you'll see that when we have the final printable lesson plan, it looks a lot nicer. But to show you, let's go to one that's been created already. Okay, this is one of my emergency lessons that I created earlier, and down here there is the option to add some light relief. Well, basically these are some of the interesting videos that have been chosen from YouTube with a math topic that could be used if you need to have a break in whatever else you're doing. This is the desserts, I suppose you'd call them, for this lesson plan, and they are the lesson finishers that I was talking about earlier. You can use this section to assign a homework. You could even choose one of the jokes to go at the end of your lesson so that you finish on a high, and you can decide whether or not you want your students to be able to log into the Transum website and see this lesson plan, and you can set the options down here. So saving that, and then the key is to choose printable plan, but it doesn't have to be printed. It could also be used online. So as you're working through your lesson, as you complete various activities, you can tick them off, and as you can see, they go into a sort of a very light grey color. Or if there's something you really don't want to forget to do, you can double click on it and it turns red, so you remember to do that activity before the lesson finishes. So how do the students access these lesson plans? So click on the More button next to the class and scroll down a little and you'll see a button called Student Access. And this is the page that just tells you the URL and the password that students will need to access your lesson plans. So what you can do on this page is just give an overview of the course. So this will be the first page that they see, and then they can click into your lesson plans. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go to this page and type in this password here. So compass plus 757. So if you remember, that was what you typed in as the course description. And then down the left side, in this left panel here, are the lessons that you've already created grouped together by the titles of the courses. So the title of each of the lesson plans, I included the chapter from the textbook. So if they click on, let's say, chapter 11, they can basically see the lessons that they had on that topic. Click on that, and then the lesson plan appears on the right. And basically all the things that you've put into your lesson plan and you used in the lesson. So there's the starter. They could click on that link and get to the starter themselves. And if you've used bullet points as well, they can tick off sections when they've done them as they're working through the activities. So that's the student access to your lesson plans. Now let's look at this button called Random. This is very popular actually. It allows you to do various randomly generated things with the student data. So for example, if I click on this, I get the random student generator, but it's saved all the names of the students from that particular class to be used in this. And if I like this one, if I click names in a hat and pick them out from a hat, you can pick the students' names and turn the sound down if you'd rather talk over it. And they come out one by one, and that's just a nice way to choose students for activities or whatever you need to do, but that's quite popular. You can also finish off your lesson with a random question. So you can select a question and then give everyone thinking time, and then randomly select a student from the group to answer it. And that is just a novel way of presenting a sort of a plenary at the end of a lesson. Okay, from the main class admin page here, we have for each of the classes that you've set up a mark book, and you can set up a number of pages in your mark book for different assessments. So let's just look at this one here, trial exam paper 2. You can see that there's an easy form for you to type in the marks for the various topics that were included in this assessment, and the page works out these means automatically for you. And there are different ways you can view this, so sort of for printing or exporting into Excel. That's probably the best format. But also the advantage is that once the data is in there, you can edit the topics if you need to after the event. But this page here allows you to analyze the marks to see what the class average was for each particular topic within the test. And as well as that, we could actually give feedback to the students. So again, all these names and marks have been made up. These aren't real people. Well, Ben is my nephew, but he hasn't done this test here. So this can be printed out, and this is sort of a page that Ben would get. It sort of it tells him his own data, but it's very anonymous about the other students in the class. But it just tells him on which topics he was better than the class average, and which topics that the red line is he was not so good as the other students in the class. So this allows for questions being easy or difficult. It sort of averages it all out, and it gives him a better idea of what topics he needs to concentrate on and put more effort into. So that's the feedback. We've also got links that you could send to the student so that they could view it online rather than you have to print it out. And just for a little bit of fun, at the end of the lesson, you could celebrate achievement because the system automatically works out the top 5 students on that assessment. So you could celebrate with them, with the class. Okay, so that is the mark book. Let's go now and have a look at perhaps the more section here. Lots of buttons of interesting things to do. So we could very quickly print out a register with the student's name there. If you want something on paper that you have to fill in, that's very useful. There's a seating plan here where you can show where the students are sitting relative to the teacher's desk, and then of course you can save that for this class. That's much quicker than doing it by hand at the beginning of the year, as we've all done at one time or another. You could make individual notes for each student, and that's a way of keeping information about particular things that they've achieved, perhaps. You could clone this class, so if they move up into a new year group, you could clone it and then start all over again. You could delete it, or you could hide it. Well, that's probably a better idea of hiding, and then you've got the records to pull back up again if you need them. Okay, this section here, reports. This is designed to help you construct reports for students. So this is how it works. If it's green, it means the report has been written, but if it's white, it means it hasn't been written yet. So let's pick on Jessica, who's female. Click on the next step, and straight away you get an overview of her performance on all the topics, so that that puts that at in the forefront of your mind. And then when you've got an idea, you can then go to write report. So the report is split into various sections. So section 1 is the opening sentence. The ones at the top are more positive, so I'm going to choose that one there and click save. And then section 2 is the interpersonal. I will pick that sentence there, and can you see the report is building up at the top as I'm doing this. And then perhaps I'll have a new sentence, so I could put the student's name in and is doing well in, and then put the her best subjects in there and save that. And that is a very positive statement, so I'm just classifying it so I can reuse that statement later with other students. And as you can see, it has put in the topics. It's also put the numbers that I don't want, so I'm just going to get rid of those. But I think you get the idea, the way that we can build up the reports for students reusing sentences that we've used before. Very useful. I'm sure you'll like that. Going further down the list, we come to trophies. So here is a class that has earned a lot of trophies. You can see there is a column for each activity and the results that that child got in that particular activity. And if I scroll right to the end as well, there's also the facility, which is this column here, to this column here, to add a teacher trophy. So you can award a trophy even if they haven't done an activity, and it shows up here with a tick, and the child gets the trophy in their trophy cabinet. And then here you can see the total number of trophies earned all together by the students in this class. Wow, some fantastic achievements there. You probably already know that one of the most useful pages is the topics page, where you can access activities according to the topic you're doing. Again, being a subscriber has certain benefits, as well as the starters and the advanced starters. The teacher resources and the student activities. Oh, and as well as the curriculum references. So if you're looking for something by sort of age group, you can look it up there. And investigations and videos, of course. There is an additional section for subscribers on external links. And these are basically links that I've found very useful on other sites. So you've got access to those. But again, as a subscriber, you can add your own links there. So the topic pages will not only tell you what's on the Transum site, but will also have your own favorites in there as well. Okay, there are a few more benefits to being a subscriber. You also get emailed on the first day of the month the newsletter, which gives you an update of the latest things that have been added to the Transum website during that last month. This newsletter also includes a puzzle of the month and solution. And it even finishes with a joke. What more could you ask for? So, for less than the cost of a couple of textbooks these days, you can create an account, sign up for a Transum subscription, very easily done, and multiple ways to pay for it. And then you have got access, and you will be kept informed of everything that's going on. So, help keep the site live and online, and encourage further development by subscribing. It would be really appreciated. Thank you very much. Bye.